Hello everyone, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Welcome to Live It Up. This is the show where we explore and discuss how to take your life to that next level and beyond. We cover health, wealth, relationships, and how to create a life you absolutely love. I'm your host and coach, Fletcher. Amy will be joining us today as we talk about something that I didn't think I was going to be interested in, but then she began telling me about it and I thought, this really is interesting. So I'm not going to tell you what it is, but I will tell you that it's cool. So stick around. Remember, health is the first wealth. But before we get to that, I want to remind you that if you have questions that you would like us to answer on or off the air, you can email them directly to me at fletcher@fletcherellingson.com. And if you feel stuck in an area of your life, whether it's financially or in your health or in your relationships, get into action and reach out to us. You don't need to suffer. There are answers and solutions and ways to get unstuck and move forward powerfully. All right, let's get to today's email. It starts and says, "Hello, Fletcher. New Year's is upon us, and I'm geared up to write new goals and resolutions. Just wondering if you have any tips. The reason I ask is that I know there are a fair number of them that will be the same as last year, which means that I didn't hit them. I really want to reach these goals. How can I do a better job of hitting them? Specifically, I'll be writing goals about weight and fitness and around my finances. Thanks so much, RB." Cool. All right. Hey, RB, thanks for reaching out. Reaching out and asking for help is a sign of strength, which means you're strong. And I love that you're writing goals and resolutions. I'm a big fan of that and enjoy doing that usually multiple times during the year. I love being able to check them off throughout the year. It feels good, and we humans are always looking for ways to feel good, right? Now, as to your concerns, you said some of the goals you're going to write down have appeared on your list in the past and that you really want to hit them this year. Excellent. So here are a few tips for how I write my goals, and maybe it'll work for you too. First off, I want to encourage you to resolve to be done with one way of being and resolve to be another way. Notice I'm not saying do something, I'm saying be a certain way. For instance, many people don't hit their financial goals and dreams because their way of being is doubtful. They have a scarcity mindset. All right, they don't believe it in themselves when it comes to finances. So they don't actually believe it's possible to have abundance in the area of money. So if you have a money mindset that's anchored in scarcity, like I won't have enough, I never have enough, I don't deserve to have abundance, or my family has always struggled when it comes to finances, then you will simply attract more of that same belief, which is it's not possible for you. You see, whatever you believe, you're going to attract more of into your life. So this is what I want you to understand. Are you ready? Because I really want you to hear this. Resolve, as part of your New Year's resolutions, to replace your disempowering belief around finances with a belief that empowers you. Replace your belief that money is scarce to a belief that says there's an abundance of money in the world and that you can tap into it. Resolve to believe that you're a money magnet. Resolve to believe that, as Louise Hay House used to say, there's gold dust in the air, that money flows easily to me. Resolve to operate from an abundant mindset. When you find money on the street or in the couch cushions, be grateful and let it be a reminder that money is always flowing to you. Of course you find money because it's everywhere. And when you have to pay a bill, be grateful that you have the money to pay it and that it's going to be a blessing to somebody else. You see, money has to come and go. Money has to flow, and that's the nature of money. It's always circulating. So open your mind to be part of the pathway through which it circulates. Change your thinking about money, and suddenly you'll see a dramatic change in your finances. Now, the same thing goes for your health and fitness. Before you set your weight and fitness goals, resolve to create a mindset of freedom around health. Resolve to have a mindset that says, I'm continually creating health and vitality. Health and vitality is a choice, and I choose it. I create it. Then look for every bit of evidence that you can to reinforce that belief. When you go on a walk, be grateful for your mobility and think to yourself, of course I'm walking because I'm continually creating health and vitality. Anytime something healthy passes through your lips, say to yourself, of course I'm eating this salad or this vegetable or drinking this water because I'm continually creating health and vitality. And soon it becomes who you are. Then the specific goals you want to set will be much easier to hit because you've developed and practiced a mindset to support the goals. This is powerful stuff, and it works. And it works if you decide to make it a must. So get clear about how you want to feel. Create the beliefs, then get into massive action. You can do this, and I believe in you. Okay, we're going to take a quick break, but stay with us because we'll be back with Amy for a conversation about, well, just stay with us and you'll find out. Hey everybody, welcome back to Live It Up. We are here with Amy. Hey Amy.
Hey.
All right, so we've got a topic today that at first I didn't think was going to be very interesting, but then as you told me about it, I was like, very interesting. So what's the topic today?
Today we're going to talk about the liver. I guess it's so surprising to me that no one else thinks that you didn't think the liver was super cool, because it is.
Yeah, most of us do not know how brilliant it is. So first of all, why did you think about we're going to talk about the liver today?
Well, I think I feel like the liver does so much. It's so important. And there actually are a lot of liver problems, and people have kind of heard of the liver, but I don't really know that people understand what it does or that much about it. So I thought it would be a good opportunity to, share the knowledge and have people learn about their liver.
All right, well, let's dive into it. So first of all, help us understand just the basics of what the liver does.
Yeah, I don't know what it does, but the liver is in your right upper abdomen, right underneath the diaphragm. So it's like right up against the diaphragm. It's the largest solid organ in the body, and on average it weighs about 3 pounds in adults, and it's about the size of a football. And it's a very important organ, which we'll talk about, and one of the things that allows it to be so important is it gets a lot of blood supply. So at any given time, the liver is storing or contains 13% of the blood that's in your body. That's why if anyone's ever been in a bad car accident, you can get a liver laceration or you can get a tear in your liver and you can lose a lot of blood.
Did you say it's about the size of a football?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's not shaped like a football.
Right.
But yeah, it's big.
It's large. Wow.
It is, yeah. And it's kind of up underneath your ribs. I mean, your ribs do a good job kind of protecting the liver. Mm-hmm. You usually can't feel someone's liver on their abdominal exam unless it's enlarged.
Got it. Interesting.
Yes.
I'm already interested.
It's a cool topic.
So what are some of the responsibilities of the liver?
Yeah, so the liver, I mean, it does a lot, so I had to kind of break this down. But the liver's main functions are it filters the blood that comes from the digestive tract before it even goes to the rest of the body. So when you eat something, the first place it goes to is the liver, or not the food doesn't. The stuff that gets filtered by the digestive system into the blood goes to the liver. It detoxifies chemicals and metabolizes drugs, again, because that's the first place it goes. So if you ingest a medication, it's going to go from the intestine or the stomach into the bloodstream to the liver. The liver also makes bile, which helps with digestion, which we'll talk about. It's a site of energy storage for your body for later, and it also creates proteins that are really important for blood clotting and other things in your body. So I was gonna, do you have questions on that?
No.
Okay, I was gonna launch into the filtering blood. So the liver, like I mentioned, essentially gets the first crack at all the nutrients and the drugs and all the toxins that you ingest. There's something called, the liver receives the blood from the portal vein. And so the portal vein is a big blood vessel that all the blood from your intestines goes into the portal vein, and even blood from your spleen, and it goes directly to the liver. So once it goes to the liver, essentially the blood is filtered by the liver. The certain things are removed or certain things are changed, and then they're put out to the rest of the body.
Wow.
I know, it's very cool. So the cells in the liver are called hepatocytes, and they act like little sorting centers. So they would decide which nutrients should be absorbed, which nutrients need to be changed, what should be stored, what should be eliminated out into the stool, and what should go back into the blood.
So basically, it's like a filtering and distribution center.
Yeah, it is.
That's
and that's why it's so
cool.
big, and that's why it gets so much blood supply. And the liver also stores vitamins and minerals like copper and iron and releases them into your bloodstream as your body needs them. I know.
I love that. So it's a filtering, storage, and distribution
Yes,
center.
it is, right. It's very important. I mean, you cannot live without a liver.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just period, the end.
Cool. So let's talk about bile. I've heard about it.
Have you ever said that sentence in your life?
No,
Let's
I
talk
have
about
never
bile.
That could be a great talk or a name for a song too. Let's talk about bile. Maybe not.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's talk about bile.
Yeah.
I've heard about it, never discussed it. What is it?
You never even knew you wanted to know about bile.
Yeah.
So the liver makes about 1 liter of bile a day.
A liter is a lot.
1 liter is a lot, yeah. So the liver is making that during the day, or all the time, actually, not just during the day, and it is released. It's either released directly from the liver into the small intestine, or it's stored in the gallbladder. The gallbladder stores bile. That's its job. So if someone doesn't have a gallbladder, the bile just goes directly from the liver into the small intestine. If you have a gallbladder, bile sits in there and waits until your body needs it, which is after you eat. So bile is a liquid, a mixture containing bile acids, and what they do is they help break food down, and they help specifically or especially break down fats and fat-soluble vitamins to help break them down to the intestine so your body can absorb them. And bile also contains certain waste products like bilirubin, which is actually what's then...
Like, what's it called?
Bilirubin.
Bilirubin?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's the thing that makes babies yellow, is if they have too much bilirubin or a high level of bilirubin. So that has a color to it, and it's like a brown color. That's what gives stool the color that it has. So if you didn't have any bile, your stool would not be dark.
Got it.
Or brown,
Got
which
it.
normally it is. So.
And the gallbladder is just like a reservoir to hold bile.
Yes. Yep.
Interesting.
Yep. It's just like a storage area for bile. And so if you're fasting, the gallbladder is kind of quiet, but then after you eat, then the gallbladder releases the bile into the intestines.
Cool.
It squeezes down, yeah.
Well, who knew? I mean, I didn't. You did.
Right, yeah. Yeah.
Okay, are we time for a commercial break?
Sure, let's take a commercial break.
All right, hey, we're going to be back with more interesting information about the liver and bile. Hey everybody, we are back. Thanks for joining us on Live It Up today. We're talking with Amy, and we're talking about the liver. It's about as big as a football, we learned, and it does all sorts of incredible things. And we're going to learn some more about it.
Yeah, and I was just telling him on the commercial break that there are doctors just that solely take care of the liver, and they're called hepatologists. He thought that word was funny.
Hepatologist.
Yeah.
Cool. All right, so what are some other interesting things about the liver?
So the liver also breaks down proteins that we eat, that we ingest proteins, and then the byproduct is ammonia. So the ammonia that's in your urine is from the liver breaking down proteins into ammonia. And so that's why people, if anyone has had the unfortunate circumstance of having someone in their family with cirrhosis, where their liver is failing, then your body builds up ammonia, which is really dangerous and toxic, and people, they actually can go into a coma if they have too much ammonia in your body. I mean, so again, I know I've said this again and again, but your body is constantly working to have this, all the levels that it wants at just the right level.
Yeah, and can I just interject something? That's why I think it's so interesting during these talks, because it's a reminder, like, it's always working so hard for us to keep everything in balance and serve us so well.
And we rarely take that into consideration. I know. And the liver also breaks down alcohol in the blood. Again, people kind of associate alcohol and liver. And one of the things is because when you drink alcohol, again, one of the first places it goes is the liver. And the liver is responsible for breaking down alcohol. So it's the first thing that sees the alcohol. There's also many classes of drugs. Medications are usually broken down. They're either filtered by the kidney or they're broken down by the liver. And so there are a lot of drugs that are metabolized by the liver, and so they pass through it first. And that's why so many medications can cause liver problems, because the liver is the first place to get that medication.
Got it. And that kind of is about the reason why you have to be careful with taking too much Tylenol.
Right. So Tylenol is processed by the liver, and most people somehow know that it could be bad for your liver. And that's really only if someone is either has overdosed on Tylenol or if they're taking, near maximum doses for a very long period of time, that can cause liver failure. And then there were two other things before we talk about, I know you'll want to talk about how to keep the liver healthy, because we always end with that. So the liver also creates proteins that help your blood clot. And so people, again, who have the unfortunate situation to have cirrhosis, where your liver is, I don't know that I actually included that. Cirrhosis is when your liver is basically the functional ability of your liver is no longer working. And so without these proteins, people can bleed, pretty badly. And then the liver also stores extra sugar in the form of glycogen. So if you haven't eaten at all, if you're in a fasting state, so you haven't eaten all night and then you go for a jog, then your liver is actually what releases glycogen into your bloodstream in the form of glucose.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So I heard somewhere that the liver can heal itself. Is that true?
Yeah, so the liver is really interesting. I mean, not only it can actually regenerate, also people can actually survive with very little function still working. I mean, the liver is really great at maintaining its functionality until like the very end when it really can't. So it does have the ability to regenerate. So after an injury or a surgery to remove part of the liver, it can grow back to a certain extent. So studies have shown that within a week after removing 2/3 of a liver, the liver can return to almost the same weight it was before surgery. Because the first thing that happens is the cells get bigger and then they start multiplying. So the liver actually can regenerate, which there's not that much in your body that feel like can do that by what we've seen.
That is so cool.
Yeah, it's really cool.
Let's see. All right. So there's lots of ways that humans can harm the liver.
Yes.
Right. So what are some of those ways? What do we need to watch out for?
Yeah, and so there are lots of diseases and illnesses and toxins that can hurt the liver. Some have successful treatments, some don't. And really, given the fact that you literally will die without the function of your liver, there's no dialysis for the liver, you really need to be careful. So most people, one of the most common things people have heard about is called hepatitis. The word hepatitis is actually just a catch-all term for inflammation. So in medicine, we don't if we say hepatitis, we just mean anything that can inflame the liver. And
so hepatitis is just inflammation of the liver? Is that what you're saying? Okay.
It's like an itis, like laryngitis, where your throat. It's just itis. It's like an inflammation of the liver.
Gotcha.
So it can be caused by viruses like hepatitis A, B, or C. That's called viral hepatitis. There's also something called autoimmune hepatitis, where your body can attack itself. Then we can also have alcoholic hepatitis, right, where someone damages the liver from alcohol. I definitely see that one quite commonly. The people that drink heavy, they will have inflammation of their liver on blood tests. There is another form of hepatitis that is really common. It's usually mild, but it's called NASH, or non-alcoholic steatohepatitis. So the liver actually gets fatty while it's getting inflamed, it actually gets fatty. And so we're seeing, because we're seeing more diabetes and more obesity, we're seeing more fatty liver. And so that's in someone who has diabetes is poorly controlled, or people who eat a lot of sugar, that's really toxic for the liver too.
Okay.
And then if it turns into cirrhosis, that's when the liver is scarred and small and not working, and actually can turn into liver cancer if someone has cirrhosis.
Got it. So can you speak more about cirrhosis and what that is?
Yeah, so cirrhosis is when, again, where it starts out just your liver gets inflamed, and then slowly it gets scarred down. So your body's kind of trying to protect itself, or the liver is, by forming scar, and then it becomes small and bumpy, nodular, we call it, and it becomes cirrhotic. And then you lose your normal functioning. So that's why people who have seen people with cirrhosis, they're frequently yellow, because your liver can no longer break down that product. And then also they get big bellies, and that's fluid in their belly called ascites. Yeah, so it's really yucky.
And can that be reversed?
If once you have cirrhosis, it's usually not reversible. I mean, if you truly have cirrhosis, or especially end-stage cirrhosis, it's not reversible.
And that's because of all the scarring and stuff?
Mm-hmm.
Got it, okay.
Yeah.
All right. All right, so we've talked about the things that we want to look out for. How do we take care of it?
Yeah, so it is obviously really important to take care of your liver. So the things that you would want to do would be you want to avoid getting viral hepatitis. So that means you can get vaccinated for hepatitis B, which is a sexually transmitted disease. Hepatitis A, there's also a vaccine for that, and that's one that's in water or food, therefore. And then hepatitis C, people get from usually from IV drugs is the main reason. So obviously not doing that was an understatement. And then also, if you live in the house with someone who has hepatitis C, you need to be careful with sharing razors or toothbrushes where blood can be transferred. The other thing is obviously not overusing alcohol. I know we've talked about this before on this show, that for a woman that would be at the maximum 7 drinks a week would be like the max, and a man up to 14. So anything more than that for sure is not healthy for your body, and then even for some people, less than that is harmful. And then we talked about type 2 diabetes, that people that have type 2 diabetes that is poorly controlled, or some people without diabetes but are eating a lot of sugar, also people with cholesterol problems can have inflammation of the liver that can actually lead to cirrhosis. And then the other thing is that if you have a family history of any liver problems that you know about, there's other things called hemochromatosis or other Wilson's disease, things that aren't very common. But if you know that there's a liver problem in your family, be sure to tell your doctor to get checked about it.
Okay. The word jaundice is kind of when you have a yellow coloring, right?
Yeah, so I mean, that's what people know about that from babies, can be jaundice. That's in the beginning, and that doesn't really have anything to do with their liver, actually. But jaundice is when the liver isn't working right. It can't break down some of those byproducts, and so usually it gets excreted, like we said, in bile. So the breakdown of your blood cells it goes into bile and then gets out in your intestinal tract. But if the liver is backed up and not working well, that breakdown can't occur, so your bilirubin level is high and they can get very jaundiced.
Okay. Here's a question for you. If I don't know that there's anything wrong with my liver, but there is, what might be some of the symptoms?
Yeah, so they can be they're very nonspecific in the beginning. You might have like fatigue, loss of appetite, nausea, weight loss, joint pain, itchy skin. Those would be, kind of early signs, and you probably wouldn't know. It may not be enough to even make you seek medical care. But obviously, if someone had yellowing of their eyes or skin, that's something that you really need to get checked out. If you had swelling of your legs, can also happen. If you have pain up by where your liver is, dark urine or pale stools, those are other signs that your liver would really be in trouble.
Okay. Things seem to come back to diet a lot. Does diet play a part in the health of the liver?
Yeah, so like I said, too much sugar is definitely inflammatory for your liver for sure. Sugar, alcohol, those are the two main things. Some people with a high-fat diet also is damaging to your liver, just the stuff we normally talk about. So really watching your intake of sugar, watching your intake of unhealthy fats, and then keeping your alcohol consumption to a low amount.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay, well, we're just about out of time. Is there anything else we need to know or you want to say?
No, I think just to recap, just to say again how important taking care of your body is, because it is working for you all the time, and it's trying to maintain this very tight range, really, of levels and temperatures. And so the more you can do to help your body function well, the better you're going to feel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Take care of yourself. Take care of your body. It's working for you.
Yeah.
Okay, it's time for us to go. So, you know what to do. It's time to get out there. Be a source of kindness. Be a source of contribution. You do have something that this world needs, and we believe in you.